Imamo, wir haben ein Gast aus Deutschland, čovjek po imenu Mark Moebius. On će nam pričati o tome kako će izgledati budućnost stvaranja glazbe. Prije toga će zajedno on sa zagrebačkim startupom DivITM po prvi put izvesti nešto neviđeno, a to je da će spojiti tehnološko čudo i istovremeno stvarati 3D animaciju, glazbu pokretima tijela uz njihove sustave Nagual Dance i Mesh Me. Zvuči jako seksi, jel tako? Vidio sam probu. Tako da smirite se. Ne, spojili su dva sustava i to će izgledati jako čudno, ali skužit ćete da u biti svašta se može danas sa našim startupovcima. Mesh Me izvrsni. By the way, gledao sam ih na Zagrebačkom inkubatoru, razvalili su ono. Ja mislim da ćete imati to. Sljedeće godine želim 3 Tesle, samo vaše, ispred. Saša će imati stariji model. By the way, Saša makne tu Teslu, super je, ali živciraš nas.
Okay, I'm sorry I don't talk Croatian, but maybe I want to have some words before I'm doing a little performance, because I think it's great to be in Kino Europa, and also it's great to be in Europe. And so I prepared a little song for this occasion, which refers in a certain way to Europe, and which some of you might recognize. And so, yeah, have fun with it. Actually, I wanted to do my performance in the middle of my keynote, but now you already saw what we're doing. So I want to talk about a bit about how we're doing it and why we're doing this. In fact, what I want to present to you is a new interactive format of music that I call the interactive song. Everybody will know what a pop song is. It's about 3.5 minutes long. It has a catchy tune. It has certain chords and several musical parts that are repeating each other. And we found a new way of interacting with such a song, open for everybody. And you already saw how it works. So I will tell you a bit why we are doing this. 5 years ago, I was working as a classically educated composer, composing works for orchestra and also music theater. And at a party in Berlin, I met Arthur, who is a DJ and producer of electronic music. And we had pretty similar ideas about music. So we thought we should produce music together. In the beginning, when we started producing music together, I prepared compositions as MIDI note structures. I would take it to his studio and he would add synthesizers and drums. And so the resulting music was somewhere between classic and techno. when we kept on working, this process would change. So I wouldn't prepare so much, but in fact, we were sitting together, talking, improvising, and so a musical idea would come in this process, which was very interesting for me because before I had been sitting at my desk writing a piece for several months, and now the process from the first musical idea up to the final product was very much shortened. And it was not, we were not so much interested in the final product actually. It was more about the creative process itself. We enjoyed this creative process and we thought, how could we let people participate? People who are not composers or producers or musical experts in general. And so this idea was kind of our entrance to the world of interactive music. And we both had kind of interactive musical key experiences. I visited a friend of mine who was working in a sleep laboratory, and we were sitting there at night watching these graphs that showed the dream activity of the people sleeping next door. And the behavior of these graphs was really musical. So that I thought this would be very fascinating to translate the data of the dreams into music. Arthur was dancing in the Panorama Bar several years later. The Panorama Bar is a very famous dance club in Berlin. And he was there together with friends. And you know, when you're in a good mood and dancing, you reach a kind of a musical flow. And in this flow, he had the feeling he could control the music through his dance moves. Shortly after that, we met at a party, as I told you, and I told him about my idea of translating dreams into music. And also on this time, the Kinect camera from Microsoft was introduced to the market. So we assumed this could be a first tool to make Arthur's dream a reality, to create music out of dance moves. We believed strongly in this, in the creative potential of this idea, but also in the market potential of such a technology. That's why we founded our company, Nagual Sounds, to develop and sell interactive music products. Nagual actually is a word from the ancient Mexico and means something like pure creativity. Now, I'm referring to a genre of interactive music that everybody will know, and that's, of course, the jazz. In jazz, there is no final version of a song. So every time a song is played, it will be played in a different way. So why is that? If you have a look at the jazz score, it is not a score that tells you when you have to play a certain note. It's more about, it gives you the opportunity to play certain notes that will all fit into the musical context. But it's up to you how you play them, in which order. We from Nagual Sounds want to create an opportunity for everybody to make his own interpretation without having to study music theory or an instrument. But what is the link? What is the link between the jazz pianist and everybody? Of course, besides his ability to play and to understand music, the jazz pianist needs a personal attitude towards the music he's playing. So if he's sitting at the piano, he's in a certain mood. He has a certain energy and also a certain audience, of course. And so the situation will influence him to make his interpretation. And that's similar when we start dancing. So the music, the general setting, the situation will influence us. And so we start moving. So that's how we thought, take these movements and create an interactive melody. Now, this was a lot of work. Of course, we had to code a software that does it, because what we have to do is we have to substitute the musical knowledge of a jazz pianist, for instance, and of course his ability to play with software modules. So there's one module, for instance, that we call the song module, that delivers the notes that all fit to the musical context, such as the jazz score. And these pool of notes is sent within the music. And then in a second part, we coded instrumental modules. So how can I explain that? So if I move my hand within the space, it will change its position within the X, Y, and Z axis. And it will also change in terms of speed and acceleration. And now we can use this data in combination to create, for instance, a melodic behavior. These modules, these instrumental modules, so will take the movement of the dancer and will translate it into a melody and into MIDI notes. So in the third place, of course, we have our synthesizers and we have our sample players that will generate the sound. That's more or less how our system works. even if you have a same song preset uploaded in the software, every move or every time you move, every time you dance, you will create another interpretation of the song. And this can be compared like the crystallization of a snowflake. So you have always the same physical laws, but the weather conditions will generate many, many, many endless individual shapes of snowflakes. Yeah, after all this research and work, we're now preparing for our first product, which is Nagual Dance, which I showed you in my performance. Besides the opportunity that you can actually create music through your moves, it is also a new motivation to move, because the music is a big incentive and it's a lot of fun, and you don't realize that you're sweating and doing a workout. You just move and you enjoy it. That's why we get a lot of requests from like fitness companies, from therapy and rehab institutions, from music and dance schools, and also from event agencies. The technology of tracking the movements, sending it to the computer, and generating the sound. Therefore, we are preparing a little hardware ourselves that we call the Nagual Dance box, that includes the camera, the computer, and of course the software. Besides that, we are also preparing an Xbox game as a B2C model. And at the moment, we're still looking for a bit of funding to finish the graphics and the gameplay for that. I don't want to talk about business models now, but of course, this is also a new way for producers to find a new link between the audience or the former listener, because the passive listener can so become part of the music production. That's a totally new role that the former listener now can play. At last, I would like to give a little bit outlook in the future, because we can already see that sensor technology is developing very fast these days, and we're already talking about smart watches, smart glasses, and so on. And we don't even know where all this will go. So we would like to connect our sound engine to all these devices, because we know about the positive effect of Nagual Dance, and it motivates you to move. So if we connect it to a headset or brain data, maybe it will be a new incentive to think also. And if you ask Buddhists how to meditate, they will tell you, focus upon your breathing and your heartbeat. And if we take those two data layers as input or as basis for a musical feedback, this could lead us all maybe to a new meditational state of consciousness and a new way of perception. And I believe that this will result in a new way of, a new genre of interactive music. I call it Thera music. And the effect of this music may help us to create a better future. And we from Nagual Sounds want to be part of that. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.